Hi there. We're going to talk just a little bit about rates today. Rates are kind of a funny thing. They have a lot of different uses. Probably one of the most common uses in our day and age is for jobs. We worry about that rate per hour, whether we're paying someone or whether someone is paying us. Now, when we look at rates, we have to kind of know the vocabulary. Rate is a ratio of two measures. That sounds kind of mathy, so let's take it down a little bit so you can understand a little better. In Mathese, which is my math language, the word per implies division and means in each or for each. So hence we can write rates as fractions. That kind of helps us to see them a little bit. When we talk about the rate, like we're driving to go somewhere, for instance, if we're going to go down to a game down in Nebraska, we're going to go down to the Nebraska game and we're going to drive down there and it's going to be 65 miles per hour. That's all the faster we can go. If we were working on this, 65 miles per 1 hour. 65 miles per often refers to this division sign as well. If I see this, I think 65 miles per 1 hour. Okay. Another area that we might see rates used is in charging. Perhaps your mechanic will charge you $15 an hour just to look at your car, maybe not work on it, but to give you an estimate. $16 per 1 hour. When you drive your car, oftentimes you worry about, okay, am I going to have enough money to buy the gas I need to get where I need to go? Because I know that my car will go 25 miles on 1 gallon of gas. How many gallons of gas am I going to need? Well, then you decide how many miles you're driving, and then you decide how many miles of gas you need, and then you know how much money you have to make your trip. Now, the distance formula is more often seen as distance equals rate times time. That's what we're used to. When you say, hey, do you know the distance formula? People will say, oh yeah, I know it. It's distance equals rate times time. And that is true. That's absolutely right. If we play with the formula just a little bit and we divide both sides by time, we will have rate equals distance divided by time. Let me show you that real quick because people assume that you know how to do that. Distance equals rate times time. Okay? I want to get rate by itself, so I'm going to just divide both sides by time. Okay? Then this time over time, that cancels out. So I end up with distance over time equals rate. And that's what we're looking for anyway. We were looking for the rate formula, which is distance over time. Make sense? Yeah, I figured it would. Okay, so looking at our next, we have some examples we're going to do here. We have rate equals distance divided by time. Let's do examples. If Bob travels 420 miles in 6 hours, how fast or what was his rate of travel? Okay, well that's pretty easy. Using rate equals distance divided by time, we can substitute. So we substitute 460 for the distance, 6 for the number of hours. If he traveled 420 miles in 6 hours, we divide, we get 70. And therefore the rate is 70 miles per hour. And usually these are approximations because you know sometimes when you're traveling, you travel maybe a little over, you travel a little under, but overall this is a basic estimate of how fast you travel. Okay? Let's talk about wages and pay. We care a lot about that, and the older you get, you care more about it. Okay, Sandy, she works at the grocery store. And her pay is dependent upon how many hours she works, okay? Her rate of pay is $8 an hour. So if she works 40 hours at $8 an hour, we would multiply the two. Okay, rate of pay times hours is going to equal her total paycheck. Now, how about a week when she only works 20 hours? Then it would be $8 an hour times 20, be $160. And then maybe she has a week that she has something going on, or maybe she had an illness in her family, and she could only work 10 hours that week, she would only bring home a paycheck before taxes of $80. And that is, that really hurts the budget if you're depending on that $320 paycheck and you only bring home a paycheck of $80. Okay, and that kind of leads me to this next thing. Okay, and I really wanted to talk about this because I don't think we talk about it enough. Thinking about Sandy's wages, we know that if she works a normal 40-hour week, she gets $320. What if her boss came to her and said, you know what? You are just such a good employee. I would like to put you on salary instead of hourly. It'll involve doing, you know, some managerial things. Yeah, a few more hours, but, you know, since you're on salary, we don't pay attention to the hours. And she thinks, well, what's the salary? She says, oh, his salary offer was $1,350 a month. Well, let's see. Looking back here, we got $320 for a 40-hour week. So if we take 320 times 408. Oh, well, normally she gets $1,280 for a month, so $1,350 is more. Well, yeah, she says, I'll do that. I'll do that. That sounds like a good deal. Well, she agrees, but then look what happens to her. With salary, and this is something that you should know before you go out and go to work in the big bad world, with salary comes no limit on hours. And sadly, Sandy figures out that she's working the following hours for the next 4 weeks. Week 1, she works 42, already over what she normally works. Week 2, she works 54. Week 3 and 4, she only works 50. Oh, wow, that's better. At $1,350 should be worth it, don't you think? Well, guess what? We're going to find out if it was worth it or not. So, under normal circumstances, Sandy works 160 hours in a month. That turns out to be $1,280. Sorry for my scribble there. I was not thinking when I was writing. Okay, now with her new job and salary, she is working $196. Excuse me. Now with her new job and salary agreement, she is working 196 hours for $1,350. Is that a bargain? Is she getting more money? Well, the only way you can figure that out is to take $1,350, which is the amount of salary she gets, and divide it by 196. Okay? And when you do the math, you will find out that she is making $6.89 per hour, which is significantly less than her $8 an hour that she was making before. That really wasn't much of a deal for her, was it? So when you are getting in that situation and maybe somebody is trying to convince you to take a job with salary, ask them what the limit is for hours. And if you find out that they can work you as many hours as they would like for the same amount of time, for the same amount of pay, you might want to rethink that. Or you might want to make some sort of agreement that if your hours go over a certain level, that you revert back to hourly pay.
Jackie, you have a phone call in the office. Jackie, Korea, phone call in the office.
I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope that you were able to get some things out of it. Rate and ratio are actually very important to us in the work world, so it's important for you to learn it. Have a great day, and I will talk to you later.